Good day, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and joining us for another live stream to promote Humane Canada Summit for Animals. My name is Natalia Hansen, and I handle the marketing, communications, and PR needs for the Summit for Animals. It is the largest, best attended, and really the only conference in our country that brings together the animal welfare, sheltering, and advocacy sectors once a year. Turns out that with 5 weeks to go, we are sold out. So if you are interested in attending, we have a wait list where you can add your name and we will reach out if spots open up. But right now, registration is closed because we are sold out. I still encourage you to watch this live stream because, hey, if you couldn't join us this year, you could join us next year and you will get an idea of the kinds of speakers and the types of sessions that you get to experience at the Summit for Animals. My guest is waiting in the wings, but first, let me tell you who you're going to meet today. I have the honor and the pleasure of chatting live for the next little while with Dr. Shane Bateman. Who is Dr. Shay Bateman? He is an emergency and critical care specialist and associate professor at the Ontario Veterinary College, which is at the University of Guelph in Ontario. But his impact goes beyond the clinic and beyond academia. He's got a deep passion for animal welfare and community outreach. He has led groundbreaking initiatives from guiding the Guelph Humane Society through a 10 million shelter project to providing veterinary care for underserved communities. He also sits on the board of directors at Humane Canada. Now, with a master's in veterinary forensic science, he's bringing his expertise to a new frontier, helping shape the future of veterinary forensics and education. He started a small consulting business called Nine Lives Veterinary Consulting, and we are going to talk about it while we're here in the live stream. By the way, if you are watching live, I encourage you to interact, ask questions, comments, etc. The goal of doing this live is to interact with you, the viewers. So let's bring Dr. Shane Bateman out right now. Good morning, Shane.
Good morning, Natalia. So nice to be here.
So nice to see you. So nice to have you. You've got a beautiful office behind you,
Yes.
nice plants, nice greenery. Thank you so much for being here bright and early. I know for some folks, particularly on the West Coast, it's very early. So I hope
Yeah.
they're joining us. I hope they grab their coffee, tea, kombucha, orange juice. Hey, maybe a mimosa, who knows, drink of choice, and join us for this live chat. Alrighty, so we are going to be talking about animal well-being, animal emotional well-being, horse welfare. I know we have a lot of people who are passionate about horses. Whenever we do a Humane Canada, anything that's related to horses, advocacy, petition, etc., people are very engaged. People really care about horses. So I would love if we can start this conversation by you sharing what is the current landscape in Canada when it comes to horse welfare.
Amazing. I'm really looking forward to chatting more about this because I think horse welfare is definitely one of those under-discussed conversations in our national work at the moment. Horses really kind of have this unusual space in Canada. Legally, in many places, they're considered livestock, but emotionally and culturally, they're companions, they're athletes, they're workers, potentially even therapists for us. So their amazing contributions to so many parts of our lives mean that they're really complex animals. Um, Broad, diverse, group of breeds and occupations that horses have. And so, as a consequence, when that happens, from a legislative and management perspective, they could often fall through the cracks when it comes to policy and investigations, et cetera. And so, they don't seem to have the same sort of public profile when it comes to welfare discussions compared to our cuddly companions that live in our house with us, but they're equally as emotionally important to many people, even though they're on the outside of our homes. And so there's a lot of, I think, really important issues that face equine welfare currently, and I'd love to talk more about that.
Yeah, and you are going to talk about it at your
We are.
upcoming session at the Summit for Animals. So remember, everyone, this is just a sneak peek. We can't give everything away. We have to save the best for the conference. So you are going to be talking with three other really talented panelists. You're one of four. I'm wondering if you could give us an example of how new technologies are helping assess animal emotional well-being, because this is one of the angles of your panel, of your presentation at the conference.
Absolutely. So I'm so blessed to be sharing the stage with three amazing people. One of whom I know quite well, Gail Hecker, here from the University of Guelph, and I'll chat more about her in a moment. But I'm also really excited to be working with two up and coming, really deep thinking scientists who are completing their graduate work, both PhDs, in the Aloy Dallaire Lab at the University of Laval. And Gwendolyn Caroui and Luis Andres Gonzalez Garcia, who are both using technology in their work to really focus on swine welfare. So they're interested in the emotional well-being of swine and using technology to monitor movements and be able to accurately describe the play and the emotional lives of pigs in that work. Again, I don't know their work very well, and I'm really looking forward to hearing them talk about it at the conference. But that will be the focus of part of our panel, is those two amazing up-and-coming scientists talking a little bit about their work in the emotional lives of swine in particular, but the lab focuses in general on the emotional well-being and welfare of a lot of different farmed animals. So they have a deep background and an amazing principal investigator who leads the lab, Jamie Aloy Dallaire, and so they're going to be bringing some really cutting edge work to the conference for us to consider and ponder going forward. I'll also be sharing
Fantastic.
the stage with my colleague, Gail Ecker, who has been really a titan in animal welfare and equine welfare in Canada for many decades now. She's led an organization called Equine Guelph, which is located here at the University of Guelph. And really, that organization has been really critical in bringing evidence and science-based information into application. How do we learn about, how do we educate everyone with respect to those cutting edge and new developments scientifically? And so her work is really, really influential. They have taken a lot of that research and developed really accessible, very effective educational programming for all
Nice.
types of potential users. And they offer that virtually through their portal called the Horse Portal, which again gives almost anyone access to a whole wealth of really amazing scientific information. She's been very
Nice.
well recognized for her work across Canada, and even recently in January was awarded the King Charles III Coronation Medal for her work. So she and I have been working on a specific sort of educational project recently. We've developed a virtual and as well as hands-on training in equine welfare for all of the provincial animal welfare services officers here in Ontario. So
Mhm.
that's been really exciting to develop that with her. My focus is a little bit on some of the forensic aspects of their work and helping to give some perspective to how equine cases are investigated forensically and how they might differ from some of the more typical cases that those officers are seeing. And then Gail's focus has been really in depth on helping folks who may be new to a lot of the equine occupations and the different equine industries, and sort of diving in a little bit more deeply on what are the foundational and fundamental aspects of equine welfare. What do they need to be there living their best lives? So pretty exciting.
This is fantastic. Thank you for everything that you've said. I'm going to highlight once again a comment here from my colleague at Humane Canada. Here's the cat. Hello. He almost always butts into my live streams. Hello, cat. Don't bite me, okay? Be nice. And this is a comment from Kathy Duncan from Humane Canada. And Kathy says here, I am so proud to be a member of Humane Canada as we are always highlighting young people and the research at our Summit for Animals. I agree, Kathy. And this sounds like a fantastic panel. So, again, we have four people. I'm going to once again highlight who our panelists are. So, we're going to have Dr. Shane Bateman, who's right here with us, Gail Ecker. Congratulations, Gail, on that recent recognition. That's fantastic. And then we have two young scientists or researchers or academia. Gwendolyn and Luis Andres. So this is great because we've got the perfect balance. We have the two seasoned people, Shane, Gale, and then we have the young minds, Gwendolyn and Luis Andres. So this is fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. And you also just took me on the perfect segue because the next thing that I am going to ask you is to please speak on this equine welfare assessment training program. You just spoke briefly about it. Can you go in more depth into what makes this unique? Who can this benefit, please?
Absolutely. So this training project is really aimed at law enforcement officers who are responsible for investigating potential equine cruelty, neglect situations, and just generally, helping to educate them about basic needs and welfare concerns for horses. With that, deeper education, they hopefully then have a much better ability to discern, what's good, what's going well here at this location that they're present at, and where some things or what kinds of things can they suggest to owners to improve upon to, optimize the welfare of the animals that are in their care. And then obviously, if there are severe situations that they're encountering, they have the confidence and knowledge to be able to say, this is unacceptable, and here is the evidence that we need to gather in order to, take the appropriate actions under those circumstances. So the training program is really unique in Canada. We've not been able to find another program that is really focusing on this aspect of things. Um, Obviously, Gail's deep love of horses and her incredible experience make the training, really accessible. The feedback from all the students has been outstanding. They really feel that the program is addressing a very strong need that they have in order to do their jobs more effectively. Um, the training is split between a big chunk of it is done virtually, where various guest speakers come in and talk about various aspects of equine welfare, teaching the students what they need to know from a knowledge perspective. And then each of the students also is given time from their employment to come and actually do a hands-on sort of half a day here in the Guelph area,
Well,
where Gail and her team of expertise is taking these students into an equine environment. We also have a really amazing donkey sanctuary near to Guelph, and that's a new aspect of the training program. While they'll be going into the donkey sanctuary, and again, understanding how donkeys are not just small horses. They're actually different creatures and need different things. And so how do they do a good job of assessing the welfare in those situations as well? And then I have just a very minor cameo in that whole process, so I certainly can't take credit for it. Given my recent acquisition of some forensic expertise,
Yes.
I am developing, one of those guest speaker cameos into important forensic information that these officers might be able to utilize in various situations as they encounter, some challenging situations in their work.
Wow, thank you so much for explaining that so well, Dr. Shane. This is fantastic, and it sounds like it's like you said, it's the first of its kind, and it's starting in Ontario. Is the goal to replicate this program throughout Canada eventually?
Oh, you just read my mind. And Gail's too. I'm sure if she was here, she'd be so, so happy. Yeah, we have been in discussion with some other provinces with respect to obviously as I mentioned at the top of the live stream today, the Canada is really sort of a patchwork of legal and policy differences as to how horses are dealt with and who's
Hmm.
responsible in various jurisdictions for assessing their welfare and investigating if there are issues, etc. And so what we'd really like to do is to harmonize the training of all of those people and potentially at various points advocate for more of a national unification of how we deal with horses here in this country. So we have big dreams, or Gail certainly has big dreams, and I'm along for the ride. So really
Yeah.
hoping that there are other provinces that might be interested in this program. And obviously, the material would need to adapt slightly if it goes to a different jurisdiction based on who's responsible in those places. Um, but the foundational core elements of evidence, what we know is good for horses, how do we do better for horses, those elements for sure are common across the country. And that's really the core of this training program.
Nice. Yeah, so it sounds like you'd like to unify in a way certain aspects while keeping in mind that, as you said at the very top of this conversation, horses mean different things for different people depending on where you are. For some they are pets, for some they are athletes. You talked about that. Working animals, of course. So keeping always in mind that it's not going to be the same across the country. A horse may not mean the same in Alberta as they mean in Ontario, of course. Well, I am looking forward to that day when this program is launched nationwide. We'll be rooting for you. But hey, for now, this is amazing that it's happening in Ontario. And once again, I will highlight a comment from my colleague Kathy Duncan at Humane Canada. She said, such great collaboration from Dr. Bateman and Gail in developing this tool for the provincial animal welfare services. Thank you. This is fantastic. Okay, great. So carrying on with the conversation, I wanted to ask you, and again, maybe this is something that Gwendolyn and Luis Andres will be more equipped to talk about, but I would love to hear your voice. Sorry, the cat is on my lap and he's playing with the cord of my microphone. A good thing we're with an animal audience who understands
Right.
what's going on, right?
Exactly.
Imagine if not. How do you see advancements in animal welfare science shaping the future of animal care and policy?
Well, I think the work of Gwendolyn and Luis Andres is pivotal, right? Canada has been such a dominant force, I think, in understanding animal welfare science. There have been such amazing and deep ethical understandings of animal welfare science. So the knowledge that we have developed here in Canada really goes around the world, and we have some amazing animal welfare scientists here in this country, working at the University of British Columbia, working here at the University of
Mhm.
Guelph, the University of Prince Edward Island, folks like the Aloy Dallaire Lab and University of Laval, the Prairie Swine Research Center. There's some folks in Calgary who are really doing some wonderful work. So I think the future of welfare, animal welfare, is going to be rooted in science. We've really, I think, animal welfare science struggled for a while to gain credibility and to they're very abstract concepts that were not abstract to us who love animals, but into the general scientific community, it's hard to do research on things that are hard to measure or hard to quantify in some case. And so our science has been so strong in developing these sort of foundational approaches to study of animal welfare, and we've learned so much. And so most of those breakthroughs, I think, are really what's led the way for us to be as strong as we are. And yet we all know in this country that there is so much further that we need to go for
Yeah.
animals. And I think the presence of so much scientific evidence in the work that we do will only serve to strengthen our approach and solidify our ability to advocate for additional changes in the future. So, I speak as a scientist. It's what I love. It's my other love language, I suppose. And so, I'm very passionate about promoting the work of other colleagues and scientists from across the country and around the world in advancing our work. And it goes hand in hand with the advocacy work of organizations like Humane Canada. It's why I've joined the board and why I'm so passionate about this organization, because they are taking that scientific evidence. We're doing everything we can to reach out to those scientists and bring their work into the conversations that we're having, and those conversations then lead to action, not only on the part of Humane Canada, but so many other passionate organizations from across the country who are wanting to make the lives of animals better.
Thank you so much. Yes, and that's exactly what we intend to do with the Summit for Animals, is really bringing all of these voices together.
Hmm.
It's not just the animal shelter. If you don't work at a humane society, you can't come. Absolutely not. When the conference started way back in 2014, sure enough, it was very focused on humane societies, because let's remember that Humane Canada is the Federation of Humane Societies and SPCAs. Don't bite me. But now we've grown, right? We've more than doubled our capacity, if not tripled it. And we have attendees coming from all spectrums within the animal welfare sector. So we have, of course, the humane societies, the SPCAs, we have TNR groups, we have spay neuters, we have academia, which is very important, what you said. It was kind of underground, it was kind of in the
Mhm.
background, hard to explain, and now it's growing. And for example, if somebody's watching this, if somebody is interested in veterinary academia, in animal welfare science, consider coming to the conference. Not anymore this year because we're sold out, but next year we want to see you there, because this is the place where you can connect. In fact, last year in Halifax, we had a presentation from students at the Atlantic Veterinary College, and the Sir James Dunn Research Lab, I believe is what it's
Yep.
called. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And I got one of them to come out and do a little bit of a plug for us. And she said, if you've got research, if you're a PhD student,
Mhm.
come and share that at Humane Canada Summit for Animals. So this is also a plug for us to tell everybody your research, your innovations are welcome at the Summit for Animals. So also stay tuned, because probably this summer or early fall, we will open call for speakers for the 2026 conference. So we want to see those abstracts. We want to see those presentations, proposals submitted. Thank you, Shane. Okay, well, I would love to close this very engaging chat with you talking a little bit about veterinary forensic science. As I said in the intro, you have a small consulting business. It's called 9livesvet.ca, and I wrote it right here on the screen. It's the number 9livesvet.ca for anyone who wants to learn more about it. So, can you tell us real quick what is veterinary forensic science and tell us about your consulting business, please?
For sure. So, the word forensic essentially just means before the law. And forensic veterinary science essentially takes all of the knowledge and information we have about animal welfare science and veterinary science, as well as many other interesting sort of sub-disciplines of veterinary medicine, like diagnostic imaging and pathology and entomology. And we apply all of that knowledge to support
Mm,
animal welfare investigations, prosecutions, and essentially bring that knowledge into the courtroom so that judges and juries have an expert who understands how that information can be applied to the questions around the law. And so it's very interesting work, not always easy. But the work that I'm hoping to accomplish is again as a lifetime academic and teacher, my goal is to really use the platform that I have and the privilege that I have essentially to ensure that we're doing the best that we can. When we know better about things, we can do better. So a lot of my work is involved in educating not only student veterinarians, but I'm hoping to again be invited to other continuing education opportunities for veterinarians across the country. The evidence is kind of shocking. Veterinarians are, you would think, would be some of the best people to identify and report suspicion of animal cruelty and neglect, but unfortunately, that is not what the evidence suggests.
mm,
Veterinarians are confused. They're not quite certain how to identify it appropriately, and they are not great at reporting. And so I see that as a personal challenge to try to overcome.
yeah.
And as well, I think what we know is that when veterinarians who are often great at communication and leadership can work with the other components of the criminal justice system, right? The law enforcement officers who are investigating, as well as the crown prosecutors who are prosecuting these kinds of cases, when we're working together, we're really making a difference and we can achieve much greater outcomes in cases where we do need to prosecute. And so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm very interested in supporting veterinarians as they encounter cases and helping them to understand whether the situation is suspicious, and then how do they document that effectively so that that evidence is admissible into potential prosecution in future.
Wow. Well, congratulations. And to anyone who's watching, whether live or who will watch the replay, Shane and I were behind the scenes before we went live. And I was honestly commending him and saying, my respects, and I take my hat off to you and everybody else who does this type of work because I couldn't handle that emotional toll of having to deal with this evidence of cruelty cases, but at the same time, we need people like you to do this because that is exactly what we need to show, as you're saying, in the courtroom, so that we can prosecute cases of animal cruelty, abuse, neglect, and that abusers get the sentence that is appropriate for all cases, because that's how we set a precedent in animal
Right.
protection, in animal welfare in our country. So again, my respects to you for doing this work because it's not easy. It's not fun. You're not playing with fluffy cats and dogs and kittens and, dealing with a cat on your lap who wants to bite you and bite your cords. No, it's emotionally challenging. So thank you so much for doing this. And again, I will highlight the website. It's number nine, livesvet.ca. If you go on the website, you'll see there is a calendar option where you can schedule a consultation with Dr. Shane Bateman right here. And again, I believe this is also a comment from Kathy, who is thanking you for joining us today and for the work that you do. And obviously, I echo that completely, wholeheartedly. We are right at the top of the hour. So this has been perfect timing. It's like we
Yeah,
planned it, I guess.
just like we planned it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I know. It's like we're professionals. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure chatting with you. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Montreal. It's been a
Me
couple of
too.
years, I think, since I've seen you.
Yes.
So thank you. And by the way, this is not Dr. Shane's first time speaking at the Summit for Animals. In fact, my very first Humane Canada conference in 2016, you were speaking. So
Yeah.
I saw you there. Then I connected with you in Ottawa. No, sorry, it was in Hamilton
Yeah.
through the Community Veterinary Outreach, which is a fantastic organization. And I'm looking forward to now seeing you at the Summit for Animals. And again, remember, everybody, we are sold out. So thank you for registering, to those who registered and took quick action. And if you didn't get a spot, and if you still want to attend, we do have a waitlist enabled. So go on the summit's website. It's humanecanada.ca/summit. You'll find a link to add your name to the waitlist, and we'll reach out if any spots become available. For now, we will see you April 27th, 28th, and 29th in beautiful Montreal, Quebec. And safe travels to you to Montreal, Shane. I'll see you there in just a couple of weeks. Stay
Yes.
safe, everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning on this live stream. We will see you on our next one. Take care. Bye bye now.